VA in many ways sets a precedence for others, for big banks, for FHA, for other GSEs. I think that this is a big, big deal, and I think it's going to work really, really well.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
A little over a month ago, the Veterans Administration, the VA, came out with circular number 26-19-31. Okay, this is dated November 15th, 2019. And the title is Assisted Appraisal Processing Program, or the AAPP. Folks, when I saw this, I might not have literally jumped up and down for joy, but I certainly did in my heart. This is a good change. Now stick with me. For those of you who think this is about bifurcation, it is, but not in the way that you think. I want to pause here, remind you that we are sponsored by three great companies. First of all, A La Mode. Folks, A La Mode is it's the software that I've been using for over 2 decades. I'll continue to use it as long as they continue to service and allow me to be able to do more. A La Mode is awesome, folks. The tools that are out there are amazing. Check them out. Go to alamode.com or call them at 800-ALA-MODE. DataMaster, of course, DataMaster is the ability to save, about 45 minutes every single report that you do. I kid you not. It's amazing. DatamasterUSA.com is where you go. Datamaster or Datamaster, as the case may be. Datamasterusa.com. And finally, we're sponsored by OREP Insurance. OREP, of course, is the E&O insurance that I choose to be with. I make it a conscious choice because of the great benefits that they give me. You can find out more at orep.org. That's orep.org. All right, folks, we're talking about the circular number 26-1931 from the Veterans Benefits Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Assisted Appraisal Processing Program. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can look it up online. It's super easy to find. Just Google it. I'll give you the gist of it, okay? The gist of it is this. For the most part, and there are caveats here, for the most part, starting in January of 2020, the VA has decided to allow Veteran Administration appraisers, so those that are approved to do VA appraisals, to choose who does the inspection. Okay, to choose who does the inspection. Now, there's been some confusion when this first came out, and I think it's been cleared up for the most part, but I just want to mention it here just in case this is the first time that you're hearing about it and you start freaking out and saying, oh no, the VA is going to a bifurcated product. I actually think they're doing the exact opposite. And let me explain. Now, is it a form of bifurcation? Yes, okay? But there is a huge difference in my mind between bifurcation that is chosen by the lender and bifurcation that is chosen by the appraiser. Folks, I've been doing bifurcated products, if you want to call them that, for decades. Well, decade, right? For a very long time, for years. I've been doing bifurcated products inside my appraisal business. Meaning, I try to work for clients that allow me, the appraiser, the chief appraiser, the one with the liability, the one with the signature, okay, the one with the license on the line, to choose who does the inspection. Whether that be one of my trainees, whether that be another appraiser, whether that be a non-appraiser that's trained in inspections, right? I get that choice. Now, I'm not saying I would make that choice. I'm saying I get that choice. And I think that's a positive thing. I think that as the individual with the liability, the individual that ultimately is responsible for that report content. And if you read USPAP, folks, it says nothing about the inspection, okay, and who does the inspection or if there's even an inspection at all. It comes down to liability. It comes down to who is responsible for that report. Now, if I'm responsible for that report, shouldn't I, as the appraiser, as the professional, be able to choose who it is that I have do that part of the program? Now, let me break this down even further. You've heard me talk about my tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? Tier 1, very basic stuff. Tier 2, you need some knowledge of the appraisal world, the language, some skill set. And it's tier 3 that I compare often to the doctor, right? This is the person that does the analysis, prognostication, right? The individual that makes the decisions, okay? That's the appraiser. Folks, you've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. The inspection is not a tier 3 activity. There's no analysis done. It's data collection, right? It's very tier 2, right? Why shouldn't I be able to find, handpick, train, okay, did I mention train? Train that individual to the point that I feel comfortable having that person represent me, my company, and gather the data properly. Oh, Dustin, what if they missed the mold underneath the kitchen sink? Well, then that's a training problem, okay? That's an insubordination problem. That's a business problem that you need to deal with. And if they're missing things, right, you haven't done an excellent job in training or the quality control, the auditing, to make sure that they're continuing to stay on top of things. That's simply running a business, right? Why is it that we, for years and years and years, have been dictated to by our clients as to who does the inspection? Us. Right? And I still have clients out there that absolutely require that I do the inspection. FHA is one of them, right? And I love working for FHA, do a lot of work for FHA. So guess what? I continue to do the inspections for FHA. But if I can find a client out there, that's going to be an A client for me if they're going to allow me to choose the individual that does the inspection. Now, this is different than your typical bifurcated product. Here's why. On your typical bifurcated product, it's the client or the AMC or the lender that's making the choice. And sometimes they're sending out Joe Schmo that's had very little training to do an inspection that they're missing things, folks, because we have no control over who that individual is. Now, USPAP says that we have to, and I'm paraphrasing, sorry, Tim Anderson, he could quote chapter and verse here, but the gist of it is USPAP says, okay, that we have to give credit where credit is due, and we have to be able to know who it is that's giving us the information and trust that information is accurate. Well, how do you trust information that somebody that you don't know, right? That can be a problem, and that's a big question mark, and that's one of the reasons that people hate bifurcated products, appraisers specifically. What if they miss something? I don't know this individual. I didn't train this individual. What if they did miss the mold underneath the sink? They're not trained, as far as I know, on how to see for that mold, right? So bifurcated can be a problem, and this is what I think happened. I believe, and I have no background knowledge here, this is simply me reading between the lines. I think the VA saw what was happening, okay? I think that the VA, the Department of Veterans, and when I say VA, these are people, right? Individuals with names and Social Security numbers that made a decision in behalf of the VA. I think these individuals are smart. I think they saw what was on the horizon. I think they saw what was coming, and they decided to circumvent it and wisely did so appropriately. Meaning, I think that a lot of the industry is going to bifurcation. And the VA saw the problem with that, the problems we've already pointed out here today. That is, if the appraiser doesn't know the inspector, hasn't personally trained the inspector, right? Can't contact the inspector. Right? I mean, that's a big deal in and of itself. And I'm going to go off on a little tributary. I promise I'll get back. So hang with me. When I say I've been doing bifurcated products in my business for a very long time, the only way that works is if Scott goes out and does an inspection and I'm doing the write-up, I can pick up the phone and say, hey, Scott, I'm looking at this picture and you put C2. Are you sure it's C2? Oh, man, did I put C2? I meant C3. Okay, good. I'm glad we talked. Now I can move forward with evaluation. Right? That type of communication is absolutely essential, in my mind, to have a quality product. You can't do that with most bifurcated products out there because you don't even know the individual doing the inspection. And I think VA, this is where I go back to where I diverged, okay? I think VA saw that. They saw the problem with that. They saw the problem with bifurcation, and they said to themselves, okay, Dustin, that's a problem. Well, they didn't say that to Dustin. They said, we've listened to the Appraiser Coach podcast, and we know the issues out. No, I'm kidding. What they said was, we see that this is going to be an issue down the road. Liability is a big deal. And the ability to have credible data is essential to the valuation process. So for those of you who are anti-bifurcation, I get it, folks. But I think this helps to solve the problem, not make it worse. And what happened was when this first came out, individuals were like, oh no, VA's going to the bifurcation product. We're all going to hell in a handbasket. No, I think they're actually circumventing the problem by being proactive and saying, okay, we get it, right? There's no reason the appraiser, the signing appraiser, absolutely has to be in the inspection. But we don't like this idea of the lender or someone else choosing the inspector. So we're going to one-up it. We're going to better the product by saying, okay, appraiser, you're the VA appraiser, right? You're the one that's going to sign your name on the dotted line. You're the one that has the liability. And because you have the liability, right, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to choose who it is. And that may be you, but to choose who it is that goes into that inspection. And consequently, you have the opportunity to control the information. You have the opportunity to pick up the phone after the inspection and say, hey, Scott, you marked C2 on the inspection, but I'm looking at the pictures. It looks like a C3 to me. Oh my gosh, did I really choose C2? Whoops, slip of the finger, right? I should have chosen C3, and you had this conversation. You know where my mind went right there. I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by 3 great companies. One of them, of course, is Alamode. Alamode is the software that I've been using for years and will continue to use for years because they continue to serve me well. Folks, Alamode is not the cheapest software out there. But as a business owner, I'm not looking for the cheapest software. I'm looking for the software that's going to give me the most bang for my buck. I'm looking for efficiencies. I'm looking for tools that allow me to be a better appraiser. Okay? Little things like being able to separate my addendum, put it on a different screen while I'm working on the grid so I don't forget to explain why I made an adjustment for condition to sale number 2. Little things that make a big difference. Alamode is that company. You can find out more by calling them at 800 Alamode, or you can pick up your computer and type in the browser www.alamode.com. DataMaster is another great company that allows me to save time and energy and allows me to be more efficient. Check them out by going to datamasterusa.com, folks, and find out why you can save, well, about 45. They say 30 to 60 minutes per report. I've timed it, folks, and I'm telling you, 45 minutes is pretty spot on. 45 minutes per, not day, not week, not month, per report. If you're doing more than one report a day, folks, that's a lot of time saved. And I don't know about you, but I'm worth a lot more than $100 an hour. Check it out. Go to datamasterusa.com. It's datamasterusa.com. Folks, I just had an opportunity to do some continuing education with a great company, my E&O company, right? And it was free. You know why? Because this E&O company gives me benefits as an appraiser. They know what I need. They know what I can benefit from, and they partner with great individuals and great companies. And it's OREP, OREP.org. That's my E&O company. They gave me 14 hours of free continuing education this year, in addition to all their wonderful benefits. And on top of that, they're a great E&O company. Check them out. It's orep.org, OREP.org. All right, folks, we are back. We're talking about this circular. It's circular number 26/1931 from the VA. Came out in November of 2019. Folks, I think this is a game changer. I really do. Stick with me on this. I'm always looking through the lens of a business owner first and a technician second, okay? And that's probably why I get a little frustrated when I'm on social media, because I think a lot of individuals, not all, but a lot of individuals on the Facebook groups, for example, some of the online forums, and generally just meeting with appraisers at conferences and rubbing shoulders at classes and different things. I think just by habit they're thinking through the lens of a technician, right? They're thinking through the lens of an appraiser, and And I'm always putting on my CEO hat first. And so sometimes we don't see through the same paradigm. We don't see through the same glasses, if you will. And so to me, the first thought that I had when this circular came out was, hallelujah, this is a big, big deal for business owners, for appraisal business owners. Here's why, folks. Here's why. VA is, number one, my best client, no doubt. I mean, there's nobody else even close. And I've got some really good clients out there, some A clients, right? But VA is A+. Now, every once in a while, they do something a little bit goofy. I get an SAR that's a little bit, I'm like, really? Okay, let's work through this together, right? But for the most part, they leave me alone. I know their system, okay? I know what they want, what they don't want. They pay well, customary and reasonable and beyond. Typically, the appraisal process is fairly straightforward. You know, I'm not dealing with multi-million-dollar unique homes on a regular basis. I love working for VA. They've always been good to work with. It took me a long time to get on their panel. I'm a huge advocate of other appraisers getting on their panel if they possibly can. They basically destroy all of the complaints that most appraisers have about AMCs. Okay, again, they're not perfect. I can tell you some things that happened between me and VA that would make you cringe. But I would say that 99% of the time, I really enjoy working for the VA and would love to continue to do so. One of the biggest issues with working for the VA for me as a business owner, again, not as a technician, but as a business owner, okay, the ability for me to be successful and really concentrate my efforts where they're needed most, right? I don't believe, okay, stick with me on this. This is back to the doctor's analogy. I don't believe that it is necessary for the doctor to take your weight and blood pressure. Okay? Now, oh, Dustin, that's a bad analogy. Is it really? Think about what weight and blood pressure really is. It's data, right? And with that data, the doctor can now analyze the data and make decisions. I don't think this is far-fetched at all. I see myself like the doctor. Well, Dustin, you didn't go to medical school and you didn't do your residency. Okay, I get it, folks. I'm not comparing myself to a doctor in a literal sense. I'm saying in the doctor's office analogy, I'm the one making the decisions, right? I'm the appraiser. It's my signature on the bottom line. But I have to do so with data collected through somebody I can trust, right? I don't want just any schmo coming in and taking the patient's weight and blood pressure and then giving that to me, and then I have to make a life and death decision based on that maybe inaccurate information. Now, certainly as appraisers, we're not dealing with life and death decisions typically. Although I was in an appointment one day and the lady pointed to her daughter on the couch who was laying sick and said, if we don't get this loan, she's probably going to die because we can't afford cancer treatments. Yes, that really happened. No pressure, right? For the most part, we're not dealing with life and death decisions, but we are dealing with professionalism. We are dealing with the ability to make decisions with data that we can trust, right? And if we are getting data fed to us by individuals that we don't even know, that we have not trained personally, okay, this bifurcation issue, there might be some legitimate questions as to whether this is even good data, right? Can we make a decision, a valuation decision based on this kind of data? And I love the fact that VA got in front of this, right? And contrary to what most people believe when they first saw that, oh no, VA is getting into the bifurcation product. No, I think they are doing a runaround the bifurcation product and saying, listen, we see this as coming, so we're going to do our own version, which means the appraiser, the signing appraiser, the VA approved appraiser is going to make the decision on where that data comes from. So from a business perspective, right, can you imagine if you went to a doctor's office and the doctor was there at the receptionist counter, took your insurance card, had you sit down, called you back, took your weight, took your blood pressure, drew your blood, and then went through the whole process, right? But folks, that's exactly what most appraisers are doing. From start to finish, they're doing it. Well, Dustin, you can't do something. If you can't do something right, you can't do it at all, right? Okay, yeah, whatever. It would be silly, right? You would. I think you would raise an eyebrow if that happened. You go to a doctor's office and that doctor did everything from start to finish. I think you would start to wonder what kind of doctor's office you were in. Why should it be any different in an appraisal office, right? And the data that's collected, yes, it needs to be good data, but that's why I love this decision from the VA. Because it now allows me, the doctor, okay, using the analogy, it now allows me to pick my nurses. It now allows me to be able to say, okay, I trust this individual to go out and gather the data, the blood pressure and the weight, which will allow me, the doctor, to make the right decision. So as an appraiser, I'm the signing appraiser. I'm the one with the liability. Okay? So I make the decision as to who I'm going to send out to do that inspection. Well, Dustin, this is just going to lead to just sending all kinds of people all over the place and just too many appraisals being done and mistakes being made. Well, folks, again, that's a business decision. And if you're going to run your business that way, you're not going to run your business very long, in my opinion. That will come back to bite you in the rear end. Okay? This comes back to, as a business owner and as a technician, making the decisions which will allow you to have high quality. Okay? And I believe that you're going to have a higher quality report, in my opinion, sending someone else to get the weight and the blood pressure so that you can focus on the important analysis. I love VA for doing this. Thank you. I think this changes things. I think this is a big, big deal. Okay? Let me tell you why this is a big deal. VA in many ways sets a precedence for others, for big banks, for FHA, for other GSEs. I think that this is a big, big deal, and I think it's going to work really, really well. Because I think appraisers really do care about the data that they're receiving. They really do care about who's in that inspection. And you're not going to send Joe Schmo that's only had 2 inspection practices to go out and gather information. Right? You're going to stand by that person's side. Some states say, you have to go out for a minimum of 100 or 50 inspections, or, you have to go out for a minimum of a year or what have you, right? And that's their attempt to say, we don't trust the appraiser to make that decision as a business owner, so we're going to decide for them how many is required, right? I don't like that at all. I love the way the state of Idaho does it and basically says we trust you. You have the license, right? You're the appraiser. When you deem that person worthy, if you will, significantly trained, able to be able to gather the data significantly well enough that it can be trusted, then we will let you make that decision as to when that is. But remember, appraiser, you're liable for that data. And if that individual misses something, right, that's on you. That's not on them. It's your signature. And that's the way VA has approached us. Now, there are some caveats, by the way, in this circular. I will have you read them. I'm not going to go into them in detail, but some things I don't like, okay? Some things that the lender can decide that I don't like. There's a couple other things in there that I think we could have done a little bit better. But for the most part, I think this is a big deal. I think it changes not just VA appraisals, but I hope that FHA, I hope that the big banks, and some of them, by the way, have already gone there, okay? I hope that the big banks will take a look at this and say, you know what, this is a better way. The bifurcation was too far. The pendulum went too far to the left, and maybe the other pendulum is too far to the right, that the appraiser has to be in the inspection, right? Maybe there is a middle way where the appraiser can choose the inspector. I love this idea. I love it for many, many reasons, but specifically as a business owner to be more efficient. Speaking of being more efficient, folks, have you checked out my Go Create Some Value workshop? It is online. You can go to theappraisercoach.com/products and just scroll just a little bit down. It's the first workshop called Go Create Some Value. It's on sale right now for $295. And if you are an All-Star Team member, you get 25% off of that. It is a full-fledged, we're talking 14 sections. Okay, this will take you a long time, but it will take you a long way as a business owner. It's called the Go Create Some Value Workshop, and you can find it on my website.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star Team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
The prognostication.